So this is in fact weekly. I wasn't sure if Samurai 8 was going to be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or what the situation with that was, because so far we've gotten a lot of these older, like, big mangaka doing monthly plus things. And obviously he's like related to Boruto, but he doesn't directly do everything. But it's nice to see him back at a weekly schedule. Obviously, Kishimoto isn't the one drawing it, but he is the one writing it. And I think that's a good way that he's going to be able to keep up with the schedule without it, becoming overwhelming. Which, again, I like that for a lot of these bigger guys, because then you take these smaller guys. I don't know if I've ever seen anything by Akira Okubo. So I don't know if the dude is literally in the middle of this looking up to see what exactly he's done. I haven't seen anything from him other than this, really, and some art pictures. So it's again nice to see this guy, tied to something as big as a work by Masashi Kishimoto, and it's been good so far. I've liked Samurai 8. I enjoyed the main character. He's pretty cool so far. I forgot to mention in the last one the fact that he's the, oh my god, what's the Daruma guy's name? He's his 8th disciple, obviously Samurai 8 as the name of the series, and Hachimaru, Hachi meaning 8. I'm wondering what the entire significance that will be. All these manga have some weird number thing within them. I mean, I don't need to really point out the obvious one to relate to after the amount of fairy tale content I do, and how much Hiro Mishima messes with the number 7. But other than that, I'm gonna keep this review pretty quick. This chapter was, I would say that the idea more of what Hachimaru can present is, I think, the most interesting aspect of this character so far. So you have him, obviously he's eating food that he's never been able to try before, and you know that from his sickness and his the fact he lived for so long as this fragile dude hooked up to a machine who couldn't do anything in life, and then now we know he couldn't even really eat. He can only eat certain pastes and apples, and I imagine that was a horribly boring life in not only activity, but now we know that eating was an all-around obstacle for him in general. Could you imagine just eating apples and liquids your entire life? Then you start eating normal foods, probably blow your mind. But now, as we got the last chapter, well, the first chapter, I saw a lot of people talk about what's the point if the dude's achieved his dream in the first chapter? I mean, he wanted to become a samurai, and I feel like it was between that there were two arguments. One was that he's achieved his dream, what's the point now? And then everyone else is just well, now he can go out and do stuff. That'd be like if in Pokemon someone's my dream is to become a Pokemon master, and then they start getting Pokemon. It's well, what's his dream now? Well, if you'd wait 5 seconds, we'll probably figure out what his motive is beyond this. And now we know Hachimaru wants to go out and make a name for himself. He wants to travel around and do things as a samurai, save people, stop bad guys, probably fight some big monsters. And just off in the distance, we see just all these weird pig guys in a tank going around causing a ruckus. So that's set up for the rest of the chapter at some point. Meanwhile, you got a really nice big spread, seeing designs, seeing buildings, and the merging of this samurai style, but also with sci-fi, and I thought that was really cool. Very visually nice. That big spread page, obviously the one that I'm using for this chapter, again, it just looks great. It just looks all around like a beautiful looking spread. Now, again, it's a very weird way to start out a series. This is chapter 2. It's really just a very mild chat between Hachimaru and this other person, having a more conversational second chapter. It's not unheard of, but you wouldn't think it'd be that way for a series where the main character, lived his whole life as a cripple, and then he's going to spend the second chapter, not really doing much as something physical. He's going to be doing it in a virtual game. His entire life he's just been living stuff through virtual reality games. And in this case, it worked out for him, which I liked. And like I said, I think that his outlook on things is what's going to make him an interesting character. The fact that you have all these people like this character, I don't know. Oh, no, we didn't get a name for this person because I'm wondering what the plan is with them, because he's a dude, but like his hands talk for some reason. And one of his hands says he's got the body of a dude, but a heart of a maiden. And I'm wondering if it's because he's so kind of like frail. That's the kind of idea or something. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is with that, or if he's going to be like a trans dude. I don't know. We'll see about that. But what I'm talking about is I like the whole fact that you have all these people that, inverted, they don't like society, they don't want to be active, they don't want to go out and do anything, they don't want to converse, and through whatever means. Now you have Hachimaru, who used to be like, he couldn't do any of that, but not because he chose to, because it's the only option he could do. And now he's able to bring that perspective of what it's like to break away from that, how much he can do with his life since he's gone past that. It's only been like, I don't know if they said how long it's been actually, but seeming like a day or two, maybe a few days. And he's already pretty happy, pretty stoked to go about his life. Now, again, it's way different when it's, you have a character's like, I chose this, I don't want to do this. I don't really care for what's going on outside the world and whatnot. And you have this guy who's like, I understand what you're saying because I've lived that, but you have to keep, like, in his mind it's different because he's probably wondering, why would anyone choose this? Why would anyone choose not to go out and see the world and go on all these adventures when you've got like spaceships to go to other planets? So it's just weird. And then obviously you got like crazy machinery and sci-fi tech, and you can literally get superpowers and whatnot, pretty much as a cyborg samurai. And he's just talking to a guy, and he makes a deal with them, and it's set up in this chapter like the guy who doesn't have a name and doesn't really want to do anything. He's the number 2 in this video game, and he's like, well, the number 1 isn't online, so I'll take my advantage for right now. And I thought that was obvious that it was going to set up that Hachimaru was going to be number 1. It just seems like something that would be the case. It's all he can do in life, so why wouldn't he become great at it? Again, logical. And then he challenges the dude to a game, and he's like, if I lose, then I'll just leave, and that'll be the end of it. But if I win, you have to go outside with me. And he ends up like wrecking the guy, and then he takes him outside to kind of like start, trying to get him to, come out of his shell. And then during all that, you have his nice dog with what was his name? Hayataro, I think. Hayataro, whatever his weird energy robot dog is. And meanwhile, these tank guys are coming rolling into town. So, it was a really interesting chapter to see like his perspective on things, and it looks like we're setting up for some more action based in the following chapter with these tank-toting criminals. So, tell me in the comments what you think about this. Like the series is pretty fresh. I don't have a ton to say about everything right now because, again, it's still opening. It's still getting to a spot where we're understanding things as a whole, and we're just getting to know the character. We got a lot of stuff in chapter 1 to talk about, but that's because everything was so fresh. But in this one, I thought just the interaction between the two and what it is that Hachimaru had to say to really put his perspective on things was really telling for his character. But other than that, I really appreciate everyone for listening. I really like to hear what you guys have to say, and I appreciate if you would befriend the like button, subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.